What am I supposed to do? Okay. Well, we as the Business Europe representing the European industry, we had the opportunity to present today the results of a roundtable we held yesterday, in which we highlighted the way the European industry can be a solution provider for the issues, the main environmental issues that are being discussed during this informal Environment Council. In particular, as far as resource efficiency is concerned and as far as climate adaptation is concerned. Some of these solutions relate to waste management, others to eco-cities and mechanisms to improve both the use of efficient use of energy and resources in general in Europe.
Which potentials do you see in green economy?
It's a good potential for the European industry to develop the points that we made about the development of the green economy is that policies in order to develop a green economy should take into account a number of issues, of what we called dimensions, and these dimensions include the need to, for example, to integrate economic and environmental goals, as well as having frameworks in terms of policies that are able to give a clear long-term perspective and stability for industry to be able to invest in this.
Do you see that there's a perspective, or this long-term perspective now?
We think that there is some perspective, but we think that a lot of work has to be done in order to have it clearer in the long term. But from what I heard from the ministers today, I think that we can be optimistic about it.
We're in the middle of a financial crisis. What do you? What's the most important, environment or the economy, getting the economy back on track?
Well, getting the economy back on track is very important also for the environment. As I said before, it is necessary to have this very integrated approach to both.
Why? It's easily said, but just please explain.
Why, in what sense? I mean, we think that the environment is a very important objective, but we also think that it is important to have the good economic conditions to pursue it.
But you said it's important to get the economy back on track. Is it important for the environment too? So why and how?
Maybe it was not clear enough. I said that the point is that in order also to work for the environment, it is necessary to keep. It is also necessary to keep the economy back on track. If we want to have these objectives, we want to reach these objectives, environmental objectives and economic objectives, we have to find a way to work in such a way that both can be pursued at the same time. Otherwise, we will not be able to get at the environmental objectives.
Where's Europe weak in green economy? So where should European companies improve just in green economy issues?
Well, as I said, the industry in terms of environmental performances, the European industry is already very advanced in terms of environmental performances. Of course, there are always improvements that can be made, but we think that the main issue now is not to introduce new legislation and new rules, but it's more on trying to implement better the rules and the regulations that have already been put in place, and that this should be the focus of the 7th Environment Action Program. On the other side, industry can be, and this was the focus also of our roundtable yesterday, can be a provider of solutions for improving the environment. We discussed, for example, I will just make an example. In the roundtable yesterday, there was a very interesting discussion about the ways on how to manage water better in urban environments, and some of the companies that participated in this roundtable were able to show examples by which just applying a smart way of using the existing infrastructure, and therefore not implying enormous investments, they have been able in many European cities to improve a lot the management of waters, also in terms of limiting the discharge of polluted water into the rivers and into the sea water.
What does the industry think about the ETS debate that they will have tomorrow in the lunch?
This will be for debate tomorrow, but the industry thinks that the ETS is and should continue to be the cornerstone of the European policy related to climate change. And industry is also available to as Business Europe and in general to participate in the discussion in order to improve the European policy on climate change. Also in this case, because we think that this perspective of having a clear long-term vision is very, very important, and at present the ETS and in general the European climate policy is not giving this, in our view, an enough long-term perspective on climate change.
What do you think about the concrete measures that are being debated about withdraw some credits and the measures to intervene in the credit market?
Well, in this there are various about the specific measures. There are various ideas and opinions inside the industry. However, there is, if I have to express one thing that is common to the industry as a whole, is that there is the wish that the ETS is kept as the cornerstone of policies for climate change at European level. So this implies also finding a way of allowing the ETS to recover some of the credibility that has been put at risk with the recent evolutions.
By putting out some of the credits, or?
This again is not something on which a specific. This is not a specific. This specific measure is not something on which there is widespread consensus. I'm sure that you will hear tomorrow. There will be video messages from the industry. You will hear some industry representatives that are going to say also explicitly that they would like to see something like that. But this is not shared by all.
Proposals to restore confidence in the ETS.
Sorry, I don't hear you well because
Okay. What are your proposals to restore confidence in the ETS?
my proposal as what? As representing Business Europe or as representing my company? Business Europe thinks that doesn't have a specific proposal for that. Business Europe, since it has to represent the industry as a whole, is available to continue and a debate in order to discuss this with the European institutions.
But what are the red lines for the industry? You thought it's not a consensus, but I guess there's some minimum red lines for the industry.
Red lines on what?
On the ETS.
What you mean by red lines?
So the debate is ongoing, so what should we do with the ETS? So I guess the industry has something that doesn't want to be done. So what are the red lines?
Well, the industry, I think that in general the industry is wants the ETS to be kept as an instrument that gives a price signal about CO2. That is also an instrument that is capable of ensuring that there are compensation mechanisms and protection mechanisms for the European industry that, because of the ETS, is subject to external competition from areas where there are no such instruments, and the ETS, as it is now, is capable of giving this.
So do you mean, for example, that
Your
companies?
attention, please. The meeting will begin in 1 minute. Your attention, please. The meeting will begin in 1 minute.
So do you mean So do you mean, for example, that companies can invest in developing countries in projects for sustainable energy and get certificates for free? Is this something which should be kept also after 2013?
Yes, the flexibility that the ETS gives to obtain credits from investing in other countries should be kept, but this is not for free. This is if you invest in development, in developing projects that are capable of reducing emissions. And this is done, and the industry is in general favor of the fact that this is done by being sure that there is an absolute and verified environmental integrity of the projects that deliver credits. But credits are definitely a characteristic of the ETS that should be kept and even enhanced.
Enhanced to what? To other countries than developing countries, or?
Enhanced in the sense that there can be improvements in how the process is capable of delivering credits. Now there are limits and bureaucratic obstacles which could be improved.
So limit is, for example, that you couldn't get certificates for forestation in other countries, or what do you mean by limits? The process is such that in some cases it becomes difficult to implement projects because it becomes difficult to get credits from those projects because of a lot of reasons which could be improved. But these reasons are not necessarily related to the EU. When I refer to bureaucratic obstacles, I'm also referring to the UN system as a whole. Okay?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.